So I think there's two important things we can agree on here. First thing is, it's quite terrifying what the ATF have been doing lately. One of the more terrifying things comes out of the case Mach V, and that particular case circles back to pistol braces. The second thing we can agree on is, if Rose would have moved her plump, perfectly round, symmetrical ass over just a few more inches, her and Jack could have both fit on the door. Or hell, he could have climbed on top of her, maybe even making a second love scene. The point is, Jack didn't need to die. Rose, his blood is on your hands, you muttering bitch. You could have lived happily ever after, it's all your fault. While we're on this topic, if you want to support this channel, please go to OnlyTacticalFans at Shopify.com, because I would have never let Jack die. I would have made room for him. Just like in my husband's case, the ATF said pistol braces were completely legal, and then they said, just kidding, they're not legal. Except in my husband's case, they told him the auto keycard was not legal by serving him an indictment. Just be glad they didn't take that approach, otherwise it could be one of your family members or even you sitting next to my husband right now. The skinny of the pistol brace rule, if you're not familiar with it, is the ATF is attempting to gain the power to dub any weapon with a barrel length shorter than 16 inches or overall length shorter than 26. A short barrel rifle on the fly with no oversight. And they have run into several issues with this. First issue they ran into is there's no clear standard with their new rule on what is or is not a short barrel rifle, making the law unconstitutionally vague. Next issue they ran into was, since the early hundreds, it has been widely understood that as long as your pistol doesn't have a forward grip or a stock, irregardless of caliber, size, weight, or functionality, it's a pistol in the eyes of the law. The next issue, the sheer amount of people that would be affected by this change, because it wouldn't just call into question short AR-15s or AK-47s, it also called into question large handguns. Yes, there would probably be some sort of exception carved out for large handguns, but it keeps the door wide open for a future handgun ban. Remember, the foundation they're building this off of was created in 1934, which intentionally did ban handguns, and it wouldn't be very hard if they had the right House, Senate, and President in office to ban everything with a barrel length shorter than 16 inches, including handguns, which in my non-professional, non-trusting government brain feels that exactly what direction they're heading towards. The next problem they're running into is the sheer amount of resistance they are facing at all levels. Private, business, and legal, because everyone can see the writing on the wall. This is a precursor to a handgun ban. They've been trying to shove this fucking thing down our throat like a drunk prom date since the 1800s. They just don't fucking quit. Persistence, little bastards. But how are they trying to circumvent these issues? They started with a straight up lie, as they always do, with the 18-inch classification letter stating objective design characteristics must support a manufacturer's stated intent. So what does that even fucking mean? Experts say it's like a guy telling you he just wants to put in the tip, but we didn't take that shit lying down. We started kicking like a drunk chick trying to get her panties off, and over the years there's been several more classification letters, excuses, and just the tip, explanations. But we've held our ground because no means no, and we're pretty much up to speed with the pistol brace attempting anal ripping. Now let's talk about current events. Currently what they're trying to do is invoke the AIA, otherwise known as Anti-Injunction Act. And make no mistake, if this would have happened in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, they would have most certainly been successful. When it comes to civil rights and firearms, our parents and grandparents have failed us, which is very unfortunate because we are left to clean up their messes. However, this ain't the 80s, 90s, or motherfucking early 2000s, and frankly, we've been doing a bang-up job fighting for our civil rights. So this Hail Mary passes is more likely to do more damage than good to the ATF/NFA. To understand how this is, I'm going to break it down to you real quick. The root cause of the problem is in 1934, when they were trying to restrict firearms from blacks and Indians, they couldn't outright do it because they were considered American citizens and protected by the Second Amendment. So what they did was apply a very expensive tax because most blacks and Indians were living in poverty. So the tax wouldn't prevent the legal possession of certain types of firearms. The tax was $200, equivalent to the price of a brand new car by today's standards. So they circumvented shall not be infringed, and because they were taxing the firearms, they weren't infringed on anyone's rights. Now that we got that out of the way, the NFA is a tax, a very malicious tax, but kind of. The ATF are claiming to be tax collectors, and they are, but at the same time they aren't. Through the early mid-1900s, we went to court several times about taxes because What was the point of the American Revolution if we were going to get taxed to death? Case after case, it was decided that taxes and tax collectors were the equivalent to a well-hung single doctor or Greek god. We weren't allowed to mess with them, more specifically sue them. So the ATF is claiming anything they declare is holy, written in the Bible, and shouldn't be tampered with because they are protected tax collectors. Yeah, okay. Fucking idiots. And as you guessed, there's a few problems with this. Yes, the pistol brace issue might be a matter of tax law, but that doesn't change the fact that it's also protected by the Second Amendment, and it's unconstitutionally vague because of how many times they change their minds. Then you have the problem with the NFA. Yes, pre-1986, you could have spit on the NFA, lubed it up, and jammed it into the back door of tax code. However, after 1986, they refused to collect tax on machine guns, therefore no longer making it tax, but instead a restriction. Some would even call it an infringement. Because remember, it's not the NFA and the machine guns, it's all as one, and because they refused to collect tax on machine guns made after 1986, it's no longer a tax because SCOTUS said a tax must be collected. So yes, the ATF does have a lot of case law backing them up. There's no denying that. However, we also have a lot of case law. For example, SCOTUS said you can't tax a constitutionally protected right. Now, you'd think this would be an open and shut case because aren't firearms a protected right? Yes, hypothetical viewer, you are correct. However, in 2008, the Heller v. case, SCOTUS said the Second Amendment doesn't protect dangerous and unusual firearms. However, the Heller case was relying on fake history. So what's the point of me going over all this? And that is the NFA is less than 100 years old, and that's less than one lifetime, which is significant compared to the history of the country, and it's built on fake history, lies, and racism, and goes directly against the Constitution. I do believe we are at a breaking point here. So will this bad law hold up for another 30 years with lies and deception, or will it finally put an end to all this madness because they have legislated themselves into a corner? This may be the tipping point, but I don't think so. I think they're gonna just tell the ATF to go fuck themselves. You can't operate with immunity because everything you do has a serious constitutional implication and oversight is needed. But yes, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys would like to write letters to Matthew, here we go, we're gonna go over this again. Matthew Hoover, 83631509, which is his inmate number, and FCI Thomson, P.O Box 1002, Thomson, Illinois 61285. Also, if you guys would like to continue to support my family and husband and me, there'll be links in the description such as like Amazon, and even when you click on the Amazon link and don't shop for what's in the little box, I still get a percentage off there because you came off there from my channel, which I greatly appreciate. There's like the Givesendgo, PayPal, whatever. I mean, even just you guys coming here to watch my videos means so much to me and my family, so I really appreciate that. So I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. It's fine, people know I have a fucked up speech impediment problem.